The Timu version. Yeah, let's go. It's lit. So today I heard a song that just made me feel hard. You know, I was at the gym when I heard it for the first time, and I was able to put 20 more pounds on there, and you can say I hit new gains, man. I hit a new PR. You know, more effective than a hot girl walking by.
DJ play one for the bad man. DJ play one for the ladies. Said go on and the crowd go crazy. I'm on the wave.
I make a promise to try and give you guys as much valuable information as possible, and hopefully you make me the promise that if you learn one thing that makes you go, aha, or damn, that you hit subscribe and you hit the like button. For this, we're just going to be going with the iconic drum machines. You're going to be able to find them in the left top Ableton. You're going to find it here. Drums, you can look for 909, 707, 808 chord kits. Now, usually when it comes to making a song, these chord kits, right, these are based or sampled from iconic drum machines that have been created by Roland. They've been used in a lot of hit songs like the 909, Madonna used it a lot, the 808. 707 is the drum machine for the cokeheads. You ever want to make stuff for people to do cocaine to, then you go for the 707. I'm going to hold Command-Shift-M to create a MIDI track. First thing I want you to do is you're going to find this groove here under the clip section, and you're going to hit that groove button, the regenerate button, the hot swap click. And I want you to find a 16 swing, the number 66 next to it. Now, why not 69? Well, we're not there yet. But 66 is going to be what I think he's using for that rhythm. All right, so now we got the bass drum. So we're going to program that, okay? Now I want to be in a 16 grid. It's going to make my life a lot easier. And then I'm going to hit again here. Okay, this is what we would call the and part of the beat. So kick on the 1, the off beats here. And then these guys in between are going to be the ands, or what the 16s would be considered. That's when you switch from 1/8 to 16. Those are the two that you add into the equation. These is what the swing is going to target. So this swing, what it's going to do is it's going to shift the notes that land on the 16th, which are in between the toes here. All right, again, if I'm in 1/8, I can only land here, like so. But if I had the 1/16, now there's in betweens. I'm making it smaller, the groove. So now I can hit those little gaps. Creates a lot of groove, a lot of swing, a lot of syncopation. And when you use this preset, what it does is anything that lands in between the toes, in between those gaps of the on the 1 and the offbeat, in between, gets shifted to the right. One more time. Command C. We undo. And we redo. From there, in the groove pool, you're going to have here, you're going to have a couple of settings. One is the timing. Think of it as a dry and wet for that swing you just saw. At 100%, you're putting in 100% of the swing. At 50, half, and I think you get the rest. From there, there's also a global amount that you can set for all of the swings. If you're the type of guy that is polyamorous or polyswingish, then doesn't matter, no pun intended there, but then you can use multiple swings if you feel it's needed. But I say just keep it simple. If you don't know what you're doing there, just drop it in, enjoy the benefits of having the 66 swing, and you're good to go. Okay, let's increase the velocity here so it gets louder. The velocity just controls the volume of the kick drum at the exact hit. So you can have different velocity values for the kick drums. For instance, the one that hits before here can be a little quieter to add to the groove. Okay, so let's do that. Best tips I've ever received from a producer that was really good at making hip hop trap stuff was always lay down the snare first. Main reason is that the kick will always revolve around the snare, and a lot of the times in these genres you're not going to find the kick and snare hit at the same time like they do in tech house, in techno, in dance, and indie dance, and so forth. So let's add the snare here. This is not the snare we're going to use, but we're just going to add it so the kick pattern makes a little bit more sense. So I'm going to lower the decay there. We don't really want a long kick for this because we're going to have an 808. So if we go into Ableton's control section, we are going to have a filter here. And by default, this is set to PRD. I'm more of an MS2 kind of guy, but this is going to be the different flavors, algorithms that the filter is going to have. And as you switch between them, what's going to happen, this drive and the way the resonance works will be changed. But for this, what we really want is just to increase the drive so we get some nice saturation on this kick. Not to that point, but and remove some of these mid-lows. Now, the main reason I do that is one, I'm hearing it here and it sounds a little muffled, muddy, and I don't hear the definition in the kick, so that usually tells me there's too much of a certain frequency. I think with 909 kicks at higher tunes, it's fair to say that you're gonna have to EQ out some of the mid-lows if you don't like that dumpiness that it has, and also that a lot of producers don't do that, and you will hear their tracks on Spotify and they sound like fucking ass. That one's not too shabby, so let's use that. And let's switch here the mode to hot or lo-fi, which is gonna add a little bit more drive to the drums. Switch that snare drum from the 909 to the 808. Let's use the settings to make it sound a little harder, because right now it sounds way too soft, okay? So let's see what we can do. If we click here, we can open up the drum more and control more of its dynamics. So let's lower down the sustain down here, and let's increase the decay. Just to kind of mimic that. Change the algorithm. And see if we can add some nice 16th landing percussion or rim shots. So here in the 808, we do have this rim shot, so we're gonna add it somewhere around here. And usually with these guys, once you have your open hat and your clap set, a lot of the percussion that you're going to find is either going to land with the open hat or clap in order to accent the beat it's on, or it's going to land in between the toes that we talked about in the beginning, where it's going to add a lot of syncopation, but also this helps add more jump and more swing to the beat. Let's see if we can do better. That's a lot better. The rim shot sounds better there. And that rim hits repeat, so I'm just going to duplicate this Command D. Booyah. Now, since we're already at the 707, the 707 is going to have one of the best accent open hats that you can use. When I'm making cocaine house, this 1/8 stuff every tech house producer is making at the moment, one of the things they miss is always these things I'm about to show you. So again, if you learn something and you find this is an aha moment for you, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, okay? We ain't doing this for free now. I want your love. And now at the end, he does probably one of the best things that I think is an aha moment for me, and it should be an aha moment for you as well, because he automates the tune of the open hat hit. Now we go open hat and we're gonna click on tune. We're gonna right click and show automation in new lane. It puts it below to stay a little bit organized. And now check this out. We're gonna lower it down. We're going to use the ride, but now we're going to modify the ride for our agenda. So just go in, lower the sustain down, add a bit of decay, lower the volume down. From there, let's go use the 909 clap, because that is what he is using to accent and add even more interest to this beat. Next thing I want to do is I want to go to my close-ups that we added before and play with the velocity so that it feels like This is gonna add a lot to the beat, so we're just gonna grab the. Now I'm gonna hit the open hat from this 808 on the beat here to create a nice little repeat. Now I'm gonna add the vocals, which are really going up or whoop whoop. So whoop, whoop. I'm gonna see if I can make it sound like there's multiple people saying it, because it sounds like his does that by duplicating it and altering the pitch on each one a slight bit here by going here and altering the sense. And this. So in the first part of the beat, he has the woes, and then afterwards he has this really cool sound, which is like. Now I don't know what he's doing there. He could have found a sample. He could have found like this cool, like, you know, shakerish sample, percussive effects, etc. I'm gonna try my best to make it with a clap and see how we do. Got into the filter. And let's make this a little tighter and a little bit more drastic. And maybe go a little faster, like 16 since on it. See what happens when let's add a bit of reverb, see what happens. Slow. Let's try ping pong. I'm gonna add it to a 1/8, but again, this is probably not what he used. He probably used a shaker and processed it a bit differently, but I'm gonna go with that because it sounds fun and it's a little different. Cool, so we got majority of the beat from the intro now, and I feel like this is the beat that he's using throughout the song, and then he's removing and adding stuff to it. But now we're gonna be doing the 808. So to do the 808, what I recommend is using the wavetable synth from Ableton. We're gonna be able to find that in the instrument section. And we're going to be using the wavetable. I think it's going to be the easiest one to use. Very visual. And okay, so what we want to do is use a sine wave. We're going to be doing that there. And now we want to be grabbing the synth, turning it into mono, because a bass or a sound like this, usually you don't want multiple notes playing on it, because whenever it comes low and very sensitive, you know, it's like a wife or a girlfriend. You got to be careful what you say, treat it right as well, and respect its space. All right, so from here, the key thing with 808s, if you want to make them from scratch and be able to, you know, show off to your friends, is one, you're going to need an envelope being routed to the pitch of the sound. So here we can do it by default, envelope 2 to the pitch. We're going to increase that. We're going to go mod source envelope 2. We're going to decrease the release, lower the sustain, and the decay will control how fast this modulation is occurring. So like I talked before about kicks being sine waves going from pew to poo, very fast. Same thing with the 808. So in the matrix, let's put this here, and we're going to decrease the decay. Let's use a saturator to make this 808 a lot meaner. Let's turn the hard clip. Let's go into the amp also and switch the settings up a bit. Let's see if we can switch it to a square and use the filter to remove the highs. Let's switch the filter to 24 to cover more of the highs, and see if we can add envelope 3 to the cutoff by going here to the filter frequency. And then we're going to click here and move it up on envelope 3, go down. Use a compressor from Ableton to duck the volume of the 808 whenever the kick hits, to give the 808 a bit more rhythm, kick not to conflict with the 808. Okay, so let's see if we can do that here. We're gonna go 909. We're gonna go post effects pre. We're gonna hit the bass drum there. It's gonna be the first option. Okay, cool. So I'm happy with the bass, not being super perfectionist here. But the key thing I want to talk about with this pattern for the 808 and for bass lines in general, like Chris Lake, Fisher, Chris Stussy, Desires, they all have been doing this where they have essentially 2 chords on the drop, and then they'll use 1/3 chord as a 1 and the 8-bar progression, or 2, they go into a bridge. So I find that it's very interesting. I've been seeing that a lot in dance music to the point where if it's happening over and over again, there must be a formula there. So hopefully this becomes an aha moment. And remember, if it is, and you try it and you make something good, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Okay. Okay, so we're jumping from G sharp to the E, back to the G sharp, back to the E, but we're going to go to another note in a sec. The other thing too I want to note here is this section of the bass here, which is what we're going to be considering passing notes. These notes are there to spice up the bass and make it sound a lot more pro. And that's rather dull and boring, so you want to establish your dominance as a top producer, right? So what you're going to do is this note, you can pitch it up. And you get that, but now that's not good enough because everyone's starting to do that, right? Even AI is doing it, but this is what separates the humans from AI. You're going to Command E. You split the note into 2, into whatever grid size you've selected, so 16th. And we're going to grab this note and just go down. And pick any note. Okay, and now the ending of it, Sammy Virji decides to just keep it kind of basic. So this is enough flair for him, I would say. Again, with Chris Lake, he does some crazy stuff there, and other great artists as well. So it's up to you how much flair you want to add to it. Again, being a producer is all about being tastemaker, but also compose. You don't want to just throw the whole damn thing at it and expect something good. This is not like school where you study a lot and you're going to excel. No, it's all about the vibe and having the composure to know when enough is enough. So this is something that you can say, I know how to do that, but I'm confident enough to know that I don't need to do that for this song. And maybe like the vocal, the rap vocal on top, maybe it was playing really fast there and he didn't want to do it because it would conflict and take attention away from it. Now, the 8th time this happens, this is where it gets interesting. Oh my God. You guys see what I mean? That low note just kind of creates like a nice little like pocket, and he repeats it for 2 bars. And in the song, what he does, check this. Look at that. Now listen. I'm right here at Ableton, the best out in the world. You know how it is. Skepta selector. You know we select Ableton. We don't fuck with Logic. We don't fuck with FL. We don't fuck with Bitwig. We don't fuck with nothing. No Reaper. We ain't cheap. We got money. We got bands. So Ableton, Sweet 12. You know how we does so good as a bridge. And again, I've seen this, and I'll keep repeating. Fisher, Chris Lake. Banging tracks. I know some of you guys don't like them, but point being, they're making music that a lot of people are resonating with. You can either see that and go, fuck that, or you can just see it and go, maybe there's something there. Maybe I can learn from that, right? But at the end of the day, again, this whole video is not about showing elite skills or anything. It's about inspiring you guys and teaching you guys little nitpicks that you can grab in order to use in your next song, whether you make tech house, whether you make dance music, whether you make techno and stuff. You can learn from little things like this, like the drum accents, the two or 3 bar chord drop, and then using that last chord to take it into the bridge before you go into a break in order to switch the vibe and create a lot of tension and releasing it properly. Again, there's a lot of nuggets here that I'm giving you guys that is not from me. It's just me from hearing that beautiful man. Let's execute the strings. Do, 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 do. So with the scale feature set now, I can be a music theory expert. Now this melody, if we want to learn from it, all it's doing, it's moving up, and it's actually going to be doing a pitch change. It's in harmonic minor, but maybe there's a different scale that I'm unaware of. But this is where it gets interesting. We're going to hit the G sharp, which is the home note, the note that's named, the scale is named after. And then from there, we go straight to the C4, which is going to go into a major note, which essentially we're doing a pitch modulation change from minor to major there. Okay, now we're going to go back to harmonic minor here. Now we might be in a form of a gypsy scale. I'm not kidding. There's something known as a gypsy scale. But now we go up. Go up. I believe we hit now the F, X4, or the G, the note before the G sharp, and that's what gives the harmonic minor its vibe. And we're gonna go up to the D sharp, the 7th, and end on this note. So I'm just gonna copy and paste this part here. The last bar here where we do this. This note holds on for dear life, and that's amazing because it creates so much tension. Anytime you want to create tension in a song, you can just hold out the note and hold out on the harmony, and this is genius. It just makes you feel like, okay, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? That's the beautiful thing about it, man. Melody gets even more complicated because now we have this melody that has a shape of it going up, right? So we start down here and we just work our way up. Well, the next thing that happens is we have a counter melody that occurs at the end of this one, which just amps things up, which adds so much. So if you ever create melodies, maybe this is something you can do. And again, I think it only works because of this note being held out. And it's great because look, it works its way down to the start of the melody again. But these notes, we're going to put them at a lower tone registers so it sounds deeper. And just duplicate it. Hold on for dear life. And then we're gonna grab this and put it here. Okay, so I brought out the big boys. Okay, Contact. This is pay to win's time. You can do it with Ableton if you don't really care too much and you're just trying to have fun. Like, by all means, use Ableton. But if you really want like good strings, you get either go with Contact, UV, Workstation, buy a string library out there. Again, there's so many to pick from, and you are going to spend a pretty penny. But again, you know, music production is sort of like Pokemon cards or like a real life RPG game, right? If you're trying to achieve something, you got to acquire some gear at times, farm for it, maybe working at McDonald's. You know, I used to rock the drive-through, still fucking want to before I leave this earth. But again, you can do a lot of really cool stuff. But here we're gonna have these strings from Contact. I only have complete 12, I believe, and you can get it pretty cheap online as well. People looking to get rid of their Contact libraries, just look for stuff. But I'm gonna be using this string, which sounds like this. Now, again, velocity is very important when it comes to strings and stuff. So I would just say, you know, if you can have the time to go play with the velocities, do it. Just for the sake of time for this tutorial, I'm not going to do that. I am going to choose to randomize the velocity, which is not going to be the best. And I'm going to humanize the notes a bit by using this, and Ableton's going to shift them slightly off the grid, not by a lot, just slight. You can hear it there. Now for the vocals of this track, besides the rap vocal, there's this really cool vocal which Sammy Virji has sampled from a track by Brandy known as I Want It Down. Now Brandy's been all over the place. She's definitely been sampled a lot in a lot of songs. I mean, Bonobo sampled her for Kerala. And I feel like, you know, those people, right? Chris Lake, Sammy Virji, Bonobo, I feel like they've been in the same room. So maybe there's something going on here, some influence, some, you know, some comradeship of like letting people know what's up, to find good samples and stuff. But he samples this section. Okay, I don't want to get copyrighted, but you get the gist. So pretty much what I'll do is warp this and select Jazz, find out what BPM it's at, bottom left. We can set the BPM to what it is. I know this is at 84 by looking on Google. So I set it like so. Okay, so I have it here. It's already ripped. I use Lala AI for that. So I'm gonna pitch it up by 2 and add a bit of foremanship. And fine, now that I'm hearing the song again, we did miss something in the drum section, which is gonna be a close hat hit on the beat as a 1/4. So let's add that very slow, and also make the decay like so. Here, Sammy Virji does this cool tape stop effect. Just do the pitch. So we can do it like that, where you get that pitch bend and you create a really cool effect of sorts, or you can do it with a plugin that I have, or any plugin that's known as a tape stop effect. You can set your stop time, how long it takes for it to stop. All right, guys, so I've grabbed the original track in order to execute this. So we don't get copyright. I put it +12 and added a bunch of formants. So we're just going to hear with this chipmunk vocal on top of it and see how it sounds. The Timu version. Yeah, let go. It lit. Yeah, it lit. I got rid of theirs. All right, cool. So that was a lot of fun. All right, guys. So remember, if you found any little techniques, nuggets that were aha moments for you, or maybe little things like the swing, the 2-3 bar progression that we were talking about, and you're going to try it out in your track, help me out. Hit the subscribe, hit the like button. You help me out a lot, get my videos out there. But you also let me know what kind of videos you guys enjoy the most. And of course, if you have suggestions on what you would like me to do, make sure to leave it down in the comments. I read all of them, good and bad. And I'm not going to lie, with this track here, my ego, sonically it doesn't sound there, but again, I wanted to focus more on the what is Sammy Virji doing in terms of the writing process and so forth, because that just really helps us kind of learn things like doing the counter melody, for instance, with the string going up and then doing the counter melody coming down back into this note. I mean, that's gold. I'm learning with you guys as I went along. The 808 doing these little cool flare notes here, and then the pitch down, and then this little tension section where it goes to that third note, just so badass, isn't it? And of course the drum beat, I know is a little all over the place, but I hope that the swing thing helps you guys out if you've been trying to achieve that swing. And of course, at the end of the day, guys, it's all about having fun, and I'm here to inspire you guys to make music that you can be proud of playing out, proud of showing to your mom, to your wife, to your kids, to your teachers, and not having them laugh at your face. We've had enough of that, and I'm pretty sure that won't happen now. With that being said, you guys have a great rest of your day.